Our team is excited to share with you different planning tips if you're under the age of 65. What about tips on Social Security while you're still working? Another brick in the wall of worry. What exactly does that mean? Avoid wealth-destroying mistakes. So vital when it comes to your overall retirement plan. So stay tuned for these insightful retirement planning topics right here, right now on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
One of the biggest worries that retirees face when they retire prior to the age of 65 is often what to do with health insurance. And when you retire under the age of 65, you're pretty limited as far as what options you have for that health insurance. So it's a valid worry. If you don't have health insurance baked into your pension that you get from your employer when you retire, you're really limited to basically two options if you retire under the age of 65. So the first option would be to continue COBRA coverage, which is a continuation of your employer coverage, or you can go on to what's called marketplace insurance. Now, with your COBRA coverage, you can only continue that for up to 18 months. So if you retire a number of years under the age of 65, one way or the other, you're probably going to end up on that marketplace insurance. And marketplace insurance is all income based. So let's take a look at a couple different scenarios here and see just how much income can drastically affect your marketplace insurance premiums. So the first case, let's go with a couple, both age 62, that live in Otsego County, or the 49735 zip code. Let's say that for this first case, this couple for 2024 is going to show $50K of income for the year. Okay, well, based on that income, they would qualify for $1,853 per month to help offset the cost of their health insurance. It's awesome, right? That's a lot of money, but it's all based on just that lower $50K of income for the year. So what does that mean for the health insurance premium? Well, you can see on the screen there that they would qualify for a 0 monthly premium plan through Priority. It's an HSA plan, so that's great. Now the deductibles are high, but based on that income, that plan would not cost them a dime for the year 2024. So that's great, right? Well, now let's do a scenario where, this same couple, both 62 and Gaylord, let's say they show $150K for income. Now, what would that do to their health insurance premium? Well, you can see on the screen there, if their income increased to $150K, that same plan would cost them over $700 per month, or almost $9,000 per year, just because they showed that extra income. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, come on, Nick, that's a huge difference in income, right? From 50 to 150K for 1 year. Well, who's that going to really apply to? Well, you'd be surprised, okay? But first, let's talk about how or what income is included in that calculation to give you that subsidy. And it's all based on your modified adjusted gross income, or MAGI. So it's a little bit of a unique number there is how they come up with it. But how they do that is they take your adjusted gross income, or your AGI, which can be found right on your tax return, and then they add a couple different sources of income to come up with your total, okay? So those sources are untaxed foreign income, non-taxable Social Security benefits, and the tax-exempt interest. So those three added income sources on top of your normal adjusted gross income. And that's how they come up with your total, okay? Now, you also got to remember that any distributions from your pre-tax retirement accounts, whether they're 401ks or 403bs or IRAs, that also counts as income. So back to, you're still probably thinking, well, how in the world could you have that much of an income difference, right? Especially in retirement. And we see this all the time. And it comes down to, when people retire, they often like to make some big purchase, right? Or maybe they want to pay off their mortgage. Well, the majority of the time, to get the assets to do that, they have to tap into their retirement accounts, those pre-tax accounts. So let's say you want to buy that $50,000 tractor after you retire, or maybe you have $100K left on your mortgage and you want to pay that off. Well, most likely you're going to want to take that from those pre-tax accounts, right? So that would drastically increase your income. These are all different things that we need to plan for in retirement. The various income sources that you use to pay off those big debts that you have or make those big purchases, not only do they affect your taxable income, but they can affect your marketplace health insurance as well. So if you have questions on how to navigate the health insurance world, please don't hesitate to give us a call.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation. Why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
It's your retirement. How will you live it? How will you be remembered?
Will you be able to take me on vacation?
Will you be there for my ball games?
Will you teach me your values? You'll be able to play with me.
Oh, help me go to college. How will I remember you?
Have the retirement you dream about. Contact us today.
When you have confidence in your retirement future, you can live the life you've always imagined. Because of planning, you now have time to reflect on the wonderful memories of your life. You and your spouse finally have the luxury of leisure time together. To spend fun times with your grandkids, sharing the joy of their excitement about life. Smiling at the thought of quality time with your children and of picking up the check. At last, you have time to breathe and rekindle the love of your life. Why? Because you imagined what could be. You planned for retirement. So today, you own your future.
Hey, welcome to this segment on taking Social Security while still working. The first thing we would want to identify is when is your FRA, which stands for full retirement age. In order to figure that out, it depends on when you were born. So if you were born in 1954 or below, then your full retirement age is going to be age 66. If you were born 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. If you were born between 1954 and 1960, then they have a prorated scale where basically they start at 66 and get you up to 67 for your full retirement age. The next thing that you'd want to know is what income counts towards your Social Security income limits. And so the first thing that you'd want to know is wages. Okay, if you're a W-2 employee, that income is going to count. If you get bonuses, vacation pay, any of that income will count. What if you're self-employed? Well, then your net profit is going to be the income that counts towards your income limits if you're taking Social Security while still working. So how does a job impact your Social Security benefits? Well, it depends, okay? The first thing is, are you taking income, are you working before your full retirement age? If so, then the current limit on your income is $21,240, which means if you're taking Social Security benefits and you're working, you got to keep that income under $21,240. Otherwise, they will start penalizing you and they'll deduct $1 for every $2 in excess of that earning limit. What happens in the year that you turn your full retirement age? Okay, well, here's another limit to be aware of. That limit is for the year earnings before you turn your actual month of full retirement age is $56,520. Okay, so in the year that you're turning your full retirement age, you want to be aware of how much income you're making before the month that you turn your FRA. And so if you go over that limit, then for every $3 above that limit, they're going to deduct $1 from your Social Security benefits. I'll get some examples here for you, okay? Let's say that you retired early and you started Social Security at age 62. And then you decided, you know what, I have too much free time, I'm going to go back to work. And you go get a job making $30,000 a year. And so you're before your full retirement age, you're making over the limit. What will happen? Well, what they'll do is, at that example, $30,000 over your limit, that's $8,760 over your limit. So for every $2 over your limit, they deduct $1 from your Social Security benefits. So your Social Security benefits would be reduced by $4,380. Okay, let's go to the next example. What happens in the year that you reach your full retirement age? Well, let's use that $30,000 example again. So you're in the year that you've reached full retirement. Let's say that you reach it in June, okay? And so for the first half of the year, you made $15,000. And then you turn your full retirement age. Well, $15,000 is underneath that $21,240 limit. It's also under the $56,520. So there will be no penalty, no deductions from your Social Security benefits. And as soon as you reach your full retirement age, now you can work and still receive all your benefits penalty-free. There's no deductions for it. Okay, so that those earning limits are lifted once you turn your full retirement age. What happens if you want to figure this out? Okay, so there's a really cool website that the Social Security Administration, SSA.gov, has, and it's called the Retirement Earnings Test Calculator. And you can go on there and you can experiment with your birthday and how much you might make and so forth. Okay, one last example there. Let's say that you got a really good job and it was the year that you were turning full retirement age, and you're making $60,000, okay? Well, if you make that $60,000 before the month that you turn your full retirement age, then you have to be aware of that $56,520 limit, okay? If you make it after your full retirement age, no problem, okay? Are Social Security benefits taxable? Yes, it can be up to 85% of your Social Security benefits could become taxable with other sources of income. So if you have questions, if you want to try to figure this out or strategize, please feel free to give us a call. We love helping you solve problems. Have a great day.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Retirement, something you've likely dreamed about for many years. Maybe you're approaching it here very soon or just recently retired. This is just for you then. Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we've created a retirement roadmap. Retirement is filled with many choices. What are you going to do with the grandkids? What trips you're going to go on? But first, we need to map out what this plan looks like. Where is the income going to come from? What investments is going to match up to produce that income? How are taxes going to look, and is there something that can be done to improve the situation today and for years down the road? Estate planning, What happens when you're gone and you're not here? What would you like to see happen with your assets and your estate and all of your loved ones that are left behind? Healthcare. You know, all the different options that exist out there and how different levels of income may dictate how much you're paying for your healthcare. Putting all those things together in a roadmap is a vital thing to retirement success. And not only that, but the confidence that you can go into that knowing you have a plan in place that allows you to enact all these dreams that you've had over the years. Simply go to our website at cen-wealth.com and there's an area to click on to sign up for this retirement roadmap. You'll get instant download and can watch it right away. And the beautiful thing is it asks just a couple questions and it hones in it and customizes it just for you and your particular situation. We hope that this video provides great value for you and again, gives you the confidence heading into your retirement so you can plan to retire well. Another brick in the wall of worry. Maybe you've heard this saying, likely when watching like a financial show or the news or something like this. I had first heard this saying back early in my financial career. There was a financial investment manager that we had worked with that I had respected a lot. And he used this term over and over. And every time he said it, it really stuck with me. And I always would get this visual effect of this brick of all these worries that people build up or the media builds up, and it builds this big wall, and you know, and the kind of the saying, another brick in your wall of worry. Well, what does it mean? You know, basically the idea is let's talk specifically with finances and the markets, the economy, stuff like that. Everybody's wall is going to look a little different, right? What are some potential worries that people could have right now? Well, inflation, geopolitical stuff, international relations, international security, the market itself, you know, wars. We could go on and on about all these different things. Think of things that you're concerned about heading into the future, taxes, all this sort of stuff. And as you start individualizing these and kind of visualize this wall going up, and what tends to happen as people build this wall of worry, it impedes them from moving forward. You get a brick wall in front of you, it's hard to go through, or you got to go around, or it slows you down, right? So when we're doing these things and we're thinking about this wall of worry, we have to ask ourselves some questions, right? So if this is from a financial perspective and we're worried about this wall of worry, should we just sit and do nothing if we've built this wall? Oftentimes people with investments will do that, or they kind of get paralyzed because there's all these different things out there. So I want to give you something to think about. When did the stock market first start? Well, there's kind of some different arguments about this, but there's signs dating back to May 17th, 1792 from the Bretton Woods Agreement that laid out how folks could trade stocks. So think of that, 1792 is kind of the earliest thing of when generally the stock market or the idea of trading stocks started. There's been a few worries that have happened since then, right? You know, back from 1792 to present day, there's a lot of different things. Think about investors heading into World War I, World War II, any war that's out there. Think of them heading into the Great Depression. These are big ones I'm talking about, not just even all the little ones that happen. But think of the market over time. You know, it doesn't stop just because there's a worry, it moves on. Sometimes it moves on a rocky road, sometimes it moves on down, sometimes it moves on up. But generally speaking, over time, we've noticed this upward rising of the market when you look at it over a big course of time, right? So if you've built this wall of worry for yourself personally and you're worried about that, here's some things to do and think about. One, should we do nothing? Should we absolutely stop and do nothing and just sit there and wait it out and wait for the wall of worry to go away? Probably not going to happen, right? There's not going to likely live in a time where there's not a single worry out there. So sitting and waiting to do nothing likely is not your best solution. One thing that I would encourage you to do is talk to your advisor and discuss your risk. What are you willing to take on as risk? Oftentimes worry comes back to the concern you're not going to make money or you're going to lose money. So we need to be cognizant of that and what that looks like. Set out an actionable plan with your investments in your financial plan so that it can meet and follow in these goals. There's tools out there today, there's the technology out there today, there's the investment vehicles out there today to put tools in place to help you meet your goals. Whether that goal is safety, whether that goal is growth, what that is, there's lots of options out there. But it's important to talk about these worries with your financial advisor, because if they don't know those worries and you become paralyzed because of this wall of worry, it's likely not going to put you in a position of success long term. So if this is you and you don't have an advisor to talk to, or you're looking at, we'd love to sit down and walk through that with you. Have a no obligations, no cost visit here at the office, whether it's Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, or Cadillac. Call the number on the screen, go on our website, cen-wealth.com, fill out a short information, and we'll get you signed up for either a short phone call or an in-person meeting. Then we can walk through this with you and talk about your wall of worry so we can start to help patch up that wall so you can move on and plan to retire well.
At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we take a holistic approach to your retirement planning. So it's not just looking at what your investments are, but what is that long-term income plan for the next 30, 40 years of your retirement? What about taxes and what role they play in your retirement plan? Estate planning, what about life insurance, health insurance planning, all key areas to consider when looking at your retirement. So please visit our website or call the number on the screen. We'd love the opportunity to sit down with you for a no-cost, no-obligation visit.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation. Why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
Let's talk about wealth-destroying mistakes. I don't know if that's an exciting topic for you, but there's a lot of times these easily avoidable errors that we'll commonly see when it comes to retirement planning. So starting off, it's trusting a brand over data. So you might be familiar with some of the big name brands in the financial world, and you just sort of go along with the assumption that that is the best option for you. But in comparison, you're going to want to be looking into things a bit further. So it's going to come down to more about the strategy. What is that investment manager's philosophy? What are they trying to do within the portfolio? What about historical returns? That's going to be important versus just simply making the assumption that, well, I recognize this brand or this name that's out there, and so we'll just assume that it's going to work out. Another might be that an error that you could avoid is chasing the high returns instead of capital preservation. When it comes to your retirement planning and building wealth, it involves minimizing losses over time. You want to be cautious, especially in those retirement years, that you're maybe not in that growth and accumulation phase anymore. It's one where those days of trying to get the big 30, 40, 50% returns might be behind you. Now it's more about consistency and protecting your assets. And if another area that you want to avoid is if an investment sounds too good to be true, guess what? It probably is. There's so many options out there in the investment world, and when you hear something and you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's the greatest investment I've ever heard of, okay, maybe take a second look at that and determine if there's a certain level of risk that's involved with that, and if that's something that you're going to be comfortable with. So you may want to err on the side of caution. Conduct your due diligence. This applies not only to your investments, but also to an advisory firm. If you're looking to go to an investment advisor and work alongside them with your retirement plan, learn some details about that. Sort of how are they structured? What is their overall investment philosophy? What types of investments might they use within your retirement plan? And are they looking at strictly just from an investment perspective, or do they talk to you about what tax implications might be, or how to structure your income, or looking through estate planning, different insurance planning, sort of what are the capabilities of that advisory firm that you're working with? Another error may be the failure to diversify. You don't want to overload your portfolio in any one stock. A lot of times people will come to us and maybe they worked for a company, or they had a family member that worked for a company, and they're confident that this one stock will never fail them. And that may be the case, or may have been the case for the past 10, 20 years that you've seen that stock grow, and which is a great thing, but you don't want to solely rely on just that one stock for your overall retirement plan. You don't want to hold an excessive amount of cash. This may erode your returns over time, especially during higher inflationary times. If you're not earning sufficient interest on that cash, you'll want to get that money working for you. Maybe there's failure to adjust the risk as your life stage changes. So as mentioned before, if you're in that growth and accumulation phase while you're working and really just trying to build that portfolio, it transitions to more of a preservation of wealth and income phase during retirement. And maybe in the later years, it's looking to distribute some of those assets. Maybe you want to start by gifting some money to family members or different charitable organizations. Lastly, you don't want to prioritize wealth over your life's goals. There's so much more to life to be enjoying and experiencing versus just solely focusing on the wealth aspect. So money is simply just a tool that'll help you achieve some of those goals. And so if you're concerned that maybe you've made some of these errors that we've talked about throughout today's discussion, if you've made those, or you're fearful that you might be making some of those questionable decisions during your retirement years, we encourage you to give us a call here at Centennial Wealth Advisory. We'd be happy to sit down, have a discussion, and help you plan to retire well.